So in this video, I will be doing a heavenly restriction progression. Basically, I'm going to be playing Soul Reaper and using the heavenly restriction charm, which makes it so you can't use any moves whatsoever except for M1s, criticals, and the manual rushdown. So basically, this is going to be a guide on how you can make a good build too with it, as this build is universal for every race with heavenly restriction. And I'm going to put the link below for the build. This is the best build that you can make unless you want to go speed, but speed isn't really that much better for heavenly restriction since it's more strength focused. But I'm basically going to be showing you guys what moves to go for, or not moves, but skills to go for in the skill tree, and also just how to play heavenly restriction. And another thing later on in the video, which will be near the end, of how you can play way better with heavenly restriction without needing to roll a really good weapon if you get a bad weapon rolled. Step of this progression is obviously doing the main story and a bunch of other quests to level up. Now, I recommend just grabbing every single quest you see, because a lot of them you'll probably complete passively, and your main focus or the main quest line, and any quest lines that have like really easy things to do. Like there is one that you just have to equip a charm and it will disappear and you get XP. You just have to buy. There's another one that you just have to buy something from the miscellaneous skill tree. Another one you just need one strange essence and one spirit essence, or one dark essence and spirit essence. Quests like this you gotta focus on because they're easy to get done and it's just free XP. And the faster you level up, the better, because then soon you can do invasions and normal missions, which are 10 times better for leveling up, especially with heavenly restriction, which makes PvE so easy compared to not having it, just because of how much more damage you do.
Restriction already anyway. Why should I unlock any moves? Because then it's just almost a fair fight, but it's gonna have Shikai moves, I think. But I think as long as I don't get any normal moves, it won't have any of those moves. Why is it so laggy? I got server hop after this. Holy lag. Dude, they're not fighting back, so maybe it's not that bad after all. Reach level 20, which means if I grab my bank remote, here it is. I can grab this. What? Oh my, why does it say level requires level 20 and you can't even use it at level 20? That makes no sense. Alright, well, I'm screwed basically.
I have finally gotten to the level that I need for heavenly restriction. I'm going to equip it, and now I'm going to start doing some missions, well, not missions, but invasions, to show you how to PvP with heavenly restriction, as that's probably what you're here for, as this is I mean, it works for PvE too, but this is more focused on PvP, and I would say this is a very good charm for PvP too. So, basically, just watch how I play with it, and this is how I recommend you play with early game, and that can change depending on what weapon you use later on. Just one last thing that I want to do while I have this gameplay up in the background, I'm going to be unlocking the Arctic area and unlocking my Shikai. So first I need to kill the King Croc boss, but then I have to meditate a ton. Now, for any Soul Reapers that are watching this, basically what you have to do is meditate. If you fall asleep and it like says you need to come back to this later, that means you need to get more XP. Now, XP doesn't count from quests. You gotta just go out killing or PvP. So either PvP or PvE. That's the only way to get it. Then you're just going to keep meditating. Then you're going to go into this room with a bunch of just white orbs. Follow the blue orbs and ring the bells. Then after that, you're going to go into a room. It's going to be foggy. Just instantly leave it. Then you're going to meditate again. Go back into that room. Leave it again. And then you're going to meditate again. This time your Shikai guy will be there. Talk to him. Leave. Return. Fight him. leave again, and then return for one last thing, which is finding your true Zanpakuto. And that's all you need to know. If I'm going to have a sped up version of the boss fight for your Shikai. Now, basically, how you're going to want to play this is semi passively, but the AI isn't that smart of an AI, so you can go for a lot of hits and just spam M1. Another good thing to know is that, unlike you, your boss doesn't have the heavenly restriction, so they don't do as much M1 damage as you. That's just something else to know. But basically, what you're going to want to do is just keep your distance, go in for M1s, and just make sure you're parrying. Manual rushdowns also very helpful because sometimes they'll parry it, sometimes they won't. And I feel like you clash a good amount of times too, and you probably can beat AI in clashing. But overall, it's pretty easy. And I'm just gonna finish the clip above, and then we're gonna get into some invasions. First invasion is gonna focus on 2v1 scenarios where you're outnumbered. So basically, how heavenly restriction works is you don't have good crowd control in exchange for having really good M1 damage. So anytime you're in these scenarios, either just try and fight both of them at the same time. However, you're gonna want to keep track of who you think you've hit more. And then once you think you've hit one person a lot more than the other, start hard targeting them like I do in this clip. Because you want to just make sure you get that first kill, especially if you can knock them with a crit. Because if they're knocked with a crit, they will get auto executed. Now I parry execute this guy, which is also another way. In 2v or in 1v2 scenarios like this, you want to make sure you get an auto execute of any kind, whether that be from clashing with the skill tree, parry execute, or your kill confirmed execute. You just need to make sure you get an execute, so you don't have to worry about gripping him before he gets back up. Now, I wasn't playing the best gear. I was missing a lot of parries. But if you're using heavenly restriction, you gotta make sure you're not being like me and you start landing your parries and you just lock in during these fights. Because heavenly restriction's really good if you're able to play really well. But I know that makes no sense, or it makes a lot of sense. But you just need to make sure that you don't miss your M1s and you don't miss your parries. Because even though I was 1v2ing these guys, I was still able to beat them. Now, the next one's going to be a 1v1 clip.
Alright, so basically right now I'm gonna show you the build and like why it's a good build and how it works. And just as I'm saying that, someone spawns in, so we're gonna wait for them to, or they joined to invade me, and I'm gonna wait for them to spawn in. And basically I'm gonna be showing why this build is so good and how to use it. Now you can either use your Shikai weapon if you like what it is. If you have Great Sword, that's literally the best weapon you can have. But if you have something like Ink, it's good. It really depends on what you like. If you've unlocked a one-handed sword style, that's also good. But personally, I like using Ink Brush because I like the crit. But it really comes down to what you want. Now, since you can only use your weapon, you're gonna want to use a lot of feints to like mix them up. And you want to just move around a lot. And I see a lot of people forgetting to use their manual rushdown. Now, some players are really good at parrying it and blocking it, others are not. But even when they parry and block it, as long as they don't do it to literally every single one, it's fine. But it's still very important that you use it because it's one of your most important abilities. Especially if you land it. Most of the time if you land it, they will also get hit by your crit. Mainly because the people that would parry the crit or dodge it wouldn't have actually gotten hit in the first place. Well, if people like that, if they're not good at parrying a certain weapon, just keep using that weapon. But if they're like really good at parrying katana, swap to your Shikai weapon. And if they're really good at parrying your Shikai weapon, swap back to your katana. Because it really, you need to focus on making sure they can't parry you. Because that is the biggest weakness. Alright, for this invasion, I'm gonna be using one just because. Alright, so for this one, I'm gonna be using one-handed style just because I want to show how both weapons are good. Oh my god. What is good? Oh, you know what happened there. And I was nearly able to knock him into a wall. That's unfortunate. I just realized he has a. Is that a broken blade or a dagger? I cannot tell. Unfortunate for him.
Alright guys, thank you for watching. That will be the end of this video. But I do have something to say. My next video, which will be uploaded tomorrow at probably the same time as this video, will be about either how to get the one-handed katana style or a follow-up video on this heavenly restriction build about how to use it effectively and to its best potential. I'm just trying to get a merged charm for the build, but you do not need a merge charm for this. It is a very strong build, and I'm basically going to be showing you why it is so strong and how you can just dominate lobbies with this, because I'll probably be showing a bunch of raids that I've played, and it is really good. A lot of people say it's just only good for PvE. It's good if, as long as you're good, it will be one of the best builds possible, just because it's both good for PvE and PvP, so that's nice. You had a 2-in-1 build, but also it's not as bad as most people make it out to be, especially with how good some weapons are, especially the crits, how a lot of the crit animations don't really make sense or don't add up. So crits are really good. You get kill confirmed off of it and stuff like that. Anyway, other than that, I'm probably going to be working on a Vasto Lorde build video. If there's any other builds you guys want me to try and make a video on, just let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.